Okay, it's recording now. It should be.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. So how about we get a little organized now? So one of us says the question, and then I'll say the question, or you someone says the question, then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So we sound like here we go.
Okay, so I can start. So the first
Yeah.
question is question number one. It says, "What type of research study was most likely conducted and discuss your reasons for making that conclusion?" So I said that I thought it was probably a correlational study because instead of like controlling an experiment and like controlling variables in the study, the researchers just kind of looked at how the two variables correlated to each other. So how sexual activity correlates to depression in teenagers versus like setting an experiment and like having controlled variables. They just kind of looked at the correlation between the two.
So I said cross-sectional, but now that I'm reading it,
Yeah.
it might not be it because while it does say like, so the what it says on here says a researcher compares multiple segments of the population at the same time, and like using, I guess like it doesn't have to be just like, so it says like the example on here says like 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and 30-year-olds, but in also like in the article it says, well, I mean, it could be because it's from 14 to 17 years old. So they're like, they're like doing surveys about like the sexual activities that they experience from 14 to 17-year-olds.
Mhm.
So I think it could be also that. But I do agree with you that it could be a correlation because it does, it's kind of, it's like, sorry, I'm like brain farting right now. What
It's
you just
okay.
said,
So I'll
but
add into that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll add into that. So yeah, I agree that it is a correlation because it has a cause and effect. So the cause and effect doesn't its existence of relation tells us about the cause and effect. The variables are sometimes correlated because one does cause the other, and it also be the same other factor. So I agree that also that it's a correlation effect on that, a
Okay.
positive correlation because there is positive and negative. So yeah, positive correlation. Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go on the next one.
Okay.
What are the strengths and limitations of the research method?
So for this one, I said that the strength was the sample size because they collected from 6,000 different teenagers, which to me is like that's pretty good. Like that's a pretty good amount of people because teenagers, I feel like everyone is so different and like each teenager is so individual and like different from their peers that like in order to have like a really good study, you need a big sample size like that. So I feel like that was a strength that they had, that they had like a big sample size. They had a lot
Yeah,
of people.
Yeah,
that's
and that they had like a variety of age, like a difference of ages, like from 14 to 17, not just like a group of them, that,
yeah, and then I agree, and then also like girls and boys, having just both sexes, which is great because it is grown sexuality and active more in boys and sexual active were nearly 9 times more likely to have attempted suicide
Mhm.
um, than girls that are sexually active. And
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And what did you guys say for the limitations?
I said that um the a downside or like yeah, the limitations were like not all of them could be telling the truth
I had that
because
too.
like since their parents are gonna know about it, they probably don't want to like say that they're sexually
yeah,
active, or they don't want to like admit that, so they could be lying about that, so it would kind of not go into the research like how they wanted.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I had that too. I said that it's hard to link the suicide attempts directly to sexual activity because it's all from a survey, so like people could have lied so
oh,
easily.
that's good. You're right. I agree with you guys. Also, uh, it just its ability to develop loving and intimate and committed relationships, and thereby creates unhappiness in later life.
Mhm.
So yeah, because of them lying, not being honest, and trying to be truth about what is really going on. I agree. and they could probably become depressed.
Mhm.
Based on the research. Okay. So we'll do number 3.
Mhm.
Based on this research, what can be concluded about the relationship between teenage sexuality and activity and depression?
Okay, so I said I felt that it was safe to conclude that there are links between sexual activity and depression in teenagers, but I don't think that it's safe to say that it directly causes depression in teenagers, just because there
Yeah.
are so many other like possible influences on mental health that like they didn't really take into account, like how many different things could really affect depression.
And also because they're still like very young, so it can't be like the only reason that they're getting depression, with all the other factors that like you said that are affecting their lives. Um, there's obviously like their hormones and stuff. They're still growing up, so that's also an effect on them.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to hold on.
I agree.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Activity. What can be concluded about the Okay, so based on my, sorry, I was just doing a quick reading. Okay,
Okay.
based on my research, I just did real quick. I apologize for. I concluded that the relations between teenage and sexual activity and depression. That 6.2% of the girls who refrained from sex said they were never rarely depressed, compared to 36.8% of sexual active girls. Based on that, I was thinking. Is that Oh, okay, I'm reading it. So I feel that that females, and males, based on the what I'm reading right now. I apologize again.
No, you're good.
Um, Instead of that, sexual activity more into. Oh, that when they're being very sexually active, they're all depressed. That's why they're being sexually active, I guess. Huh? Past me. I'm still reading. I apologize. Go.
No, no, you're good. Um, okay, so question D says, to what extent are the conclusions offered by Robert Rector sound? What did you say, Emily?
Um, I didn't have a okay. Well, I just said that it's true that sometimes like it can affect a teen, like he said, like for like a lifetime because they're still kids, and they do all these like and they're getting sexually active very young, so it can affect them. But that I feel like that can't always be the case, like for a lot of people.
Mhm.
I think it just kind of depends on like the person, how they take it and how they react to what happens. Sorry, I don't have really have a clear answer to that
No,
either.
that's fine. That's better than what I did right now. I felt a little
You're
brain
good.
fart.
What did
But
what did you
what I
say, Maddie?
what I
Like, do you
read.
have?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to go?
Okay, yeah. To what extent are the I can do this one. To what extent are the conclusions offered by Robert Rector sound? So what I feel like that Robert Rector, the conclusions was that long-term and short-term negative psychology affects both teens, and the ability. This is what I should have said from the last one, because his conclusion was that most of the teens have a long-term, short-term, and long-term negative psychology effect. It disputes the ability to develop loving, intimate, and committed relationships, and thereby creates unhappiness in later in life. I feel that he's right. I mean, some kids can affect them positive, obviously negatively because of the sexual activity and the depressions because they're trying to substitute sexual activities and they become depressed and they don't know how to react, and so they become very sexually active. And sexually active comes with a lot of like risks and a lot of responsibilities, and going through all that, being said, they can create, if they don't get help soon, and get some kind of therapy or get some kind of help or have a support system or someone they can actually confine in, and then they can't either learn from it and have someone help them to distinguish everything and grow from it and learn from it and not make those same mistakes and not become so depressed, or they become depressed.
Mhm.
And a lot of teenagers just don't ask for help because
Yeah.
feeling embarrassed, like you said, feeling embarrassed, shy, or not having that communication with their parents, or even their friends, maybe not friends, not having the proper right answers because they're young too.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
I agree.
I
I
agree. Yeah, that's a good answer.
better than the other ones. Thank you guys. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, you're good. Um, okay, because that was all the questions for
The
Robert Rector.
questions
Oh,
what for BB2.
I agree with you.
Great.
I also had that. I think that there definitely are some other factors that contribute to mental health, but that sexual
Yeah.
activity a big factor, and that his research definitely proved that. So I agree with you
Good.
in that
Thanks
aspect. But yeah, I think that's all of
for
the
that
questions.
one.
First one,
So
yeah.